I grew up in a church, specifically the Methodist faith. I had attended church most of my life. It was a very different teaching. I didn't know actually a lot about the Bible, and I didn't realize that until now, looking back. I had a very interesting relationship with God. It was very fearful. I knew I didn't want that for my children, but I couldn't quite figure out what I did want, and I didn't want to make my already anxious children more anxious by putting them in the wrong place. I didn't really do much of anything. I didn't know what to do. So when a girlfriend invited me to Church on the Rock, it felt like one of the first times I had been led somewhere. My husband did not grow up in the church. He did not have any background in it, and he was in love with me, and so was kind enough to support when I wanted to go when I first came to Church on the Rock. And I don't remember if it was the first week or one of the first 3 weeks, but Pastor Kim led everyone in the church to sing Jesus Loves Me. And I could not stop crying, and it just felt so comforting, and it just felt so right. I told my husband I wanted him to come. It took a couple months for him to kind of digest that and say, okay. From there, we started bringing our children, and they were just sponges and just, oh my goodness, they loved it. And then I loved the people that were working there and how much they were pouring into them, and our conversations at home changed, and then my husband and I's marriage changed, and everything just was better. It just felt all of a sudden like all these doors and resources and life, and just so much was breathed into us, and we just have never looked back. When Pastor first mentioned doing Growth Track, I wasn't really sure what that meant. And the one thing I love about this church is that Pastor doesn't do anything without intentionality. Our mission completely lines up with what we do. It's not something that is just said and forgotten. It is something that focuses us at the beginning of every meeting, at the beginning of every prayer, at the beginning of everything. And it's what we actually do. Really, Growth Track, it's not just about setting you up for volunteerism. It's really setting you up for success in life. Like, this is who you are. Stop fighting it. Like, do the things that God called you to do in the way that God called you to do it. So instead of trying to fit whatever mold you've been trying to for years, you get to be in this other mold, and it's gonna feel great. So let's try it. And I really feel like the people that lead Growth Track see you and help you find that also. It just feels like it's one more component that shows me I'm in the right spot. I have a really bold personality, and that can sometimes be off-putting to some people. And I've come to terms with that as I've gotten older. And sometimes, when I was younger, I felt like I needed to walk that back and kind of be somebody different. It feels really nice to feel like my personality is in the right spot where I don't feel like I have to be somebody different to make people happy. And Growth Track just celebrates that, and it's really nice. Camp is oftentimes the first time a child has had that experience where they are surrounded by the same age or that many children at one time, and that momentum and that that feeling of excitement about Jesus is palpable. And we as adults can feel that, and we find that kids have a harder time sometimes recognizing that, but in that room in camp, it was easily recognizable, and kids will carry that emotion with them for years to come. It's beautiful.